Hello everyone, welcome to Career Launcher. So today we are going to talk about Quant CAT-25 arithmetic, and this is the first session of percentage one. And in this session we are going to talk about previous year questions that has appeared in CAT. So we have taken few questions, and every Tuesday we are going to do a series where we are going to solve few questions of previous year uh, uh, CAT of different topics. Okay, so in percentage, this is the first session. In the next session, we are going to do a couple of different previous year questions of percentage itself. Okay, so now let's move on to the questions and let's start. So basically, what is the first question? So it says that the number of girls appearing uh, for an admission test is twice the number of boys. If 30% of girls and 45% of the boys get admission, then what? Then the percentage of candidates who do not get admission is what? Okay, so basically the number of girls are twice the number of boys. Okay, so just let me change the color option. So this is not very visible. Okay. So the number of girls appearing for admission test is twice the number of boys. So we are talking about girls, we are talking about boys, and girls are uh, twice the number of boys. So if I am going to read the whole question, then am I getting any actual number? So if you see, there is no actual number. All the values that are given to us in terms of percentage. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to assume the number of boys and number of girls. So I am assuming number of boys are 100, number of girls are 200 because number of girls are twice the number of boys. Okay. If 30% of the girls, so 30% of what? 30% of 200, that is 90. And 45% of boys means 45 boys are getting admission. So how many people are not getting admission? And that's what question is asking, the percentage of candidates who are not going to get admission. Okay, so how many girls are not getting admission? 110. How many boys who are not getting admission? That is 55. So what is the total number of candidates who are not getting admission? That is 165. Okay, uh, so it is going to be 30% of the girls are okay. So 165 people are not getting admission. So the question is talking about the percentage of candidates who are not getting admission. So I think there is some problem with the values because 165. Okay, so did I make a mistake? So 110 girls and 55 boys did not get admission. So 165 candidates did not get admission out of how many? Out of 300. Okay, into 100. Okay, so it is going to be 55%. Okay, but 55 is not in the option, so it means I have made some mistake. So number of girls appearing for an admission is twice the number of boys. So number of girls, okay, so I made a mistake. 30% of 200 is 60, so it should be 140. It should be this. So total number of students who are not getting admission is 195. 195 out of how much? Out of 300 into 100. So this directly comes out to be 65%. So what percent of the candidates are not going to get admission? That is going to be option D, that is 65%. And that's how we are going to approach the question. So basically I made a little mistake over here in the calculation, but in the exam you can already figure out, because if you see, when I made a mistake, I didn't get the answer that matches any option. So I know that whatever calculation I have done was a little wrong. I humbly apologize for the blunder. Now let's move on to the next question. What does it say? Okay, so out of the shirts produced in a factory, 15% are defective. Okay, while 20% of rest are sold in domestic market, and if remaining this are left for export, the number of shirts produced in the factory. Okay, now again what I'm going to look for, I am going to look for the actual number. Do we have an actual number in the question? Yes, that is 8840. So whenever you have an actual number, generally you cannot start with assuming a value as 100, because if you are assuming 100, you are assuming a number itself. So I am starting to assume that we have 100x shirts. Out of 100x, how many are defective? 15x. How many are left out? 85. Out of 85, how many are sold in domestic market? That is 20%, means 1/5. So in domestic market, 1/5 of rest, means 1/5 of 85 are being sold in the domestic market. So in the domestic market, 1/5 of 85 comes out to be 17x. Okay, and how many are being exported? So for export, that is 85x minus 17x, that is 68x. Now it says that if the remaining 8840 shirts are left for export, it means 68x is equal to 8840. So it should be equal to 8840. Okay. Now can I cancel it by 4? Yes. So this is 17 and this is 2210. Now can I cancel it by 17? It comes out to be 130. So x comes out to be 130, and total number of shirts that I have assumed is 100 into 130. So that comes out to be 13,000. So answer of this question is going to be option B. So there are a total of 13,000 shirts that has been produced in the factory. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it says? So it says, in a village, the production of food grains increased by 40%. Okay. So let's say initially, if the production was 40, sorry, it was 100, so it has become 140. So basically, the production is increased by 40%. It means it is moving from 100 to 140. It means it is being multiplied by 1.4 times. So it is, the production of food is being 1.4 times. Increase of 40% means this. Okay. If the per capita production of food grains is increased by 27%, means if initially it was 100, it has become 127, means it has become 1.27 times. Okay. The percentage by which the population of the village increased during the same period is nearest to what? Okay. Now, what is per capita food production? So, whenever you see these kind of questions, the first thing you are supposed to do is this: write the formula. So, per capita food production is equal to food production divided by population, right? So, this is the formula. Okay. Now, I'm just going to plug in these values over here. So production of food grains increased. So food production increased by 40%. So it is 1.4. Population is what? I don't know. Per capita increased by 1.27. So I can say that the population is 1.4 divided by 1.27. It means it is going to be close to 1.1. Now this value is in fraction. If I multiply with 100, so I can say it is 110%. So initially population was 100% of itself. Now it has become 110%. It means the population has increased by close to 10%, and that's going to be our option C. So basically, this is how we can solve these kind of questions. Okay. So whenever you are going to see this question or these kind of questions, so this is the approach you are always going to take. Okay. Now I'm moving on to the next question. What does it says? Okay. So what so basically anyone who has any doubt at any point of time, just write a message in the chat box, and I'll respond accordingly. Now what does it say? In an examination the maximum possible marks is n, okay, while the passing marks are 45% of n. Okay, so let's say the total marks are n, the passing marks are 45% of n. Okay, so this is 45% of n, that is the pass marks. Now it says the candidate is obtained 36 marks and he fails. Okay, so he is getting 36 marks. Okay, now he falls short of the pass marks by 68%. Okay, means this difference is 68% of this, right? It means he is scoring 32% of the passing marks, right? Because if this value is 45%, this value is 68% of 45% n, it means this value should be equal to 32% of 45% n. So I am just going to write this 32% of 45% of n, and that is equal to 36, and this is what that is going to give me my answer. So 9 5s are 9 4, this comes out to be 20, this comes out to be 8. Okay, now what I'm going to get, n comes out to be 20 into 100, that is 2000 divided by 8. So I would say this value is going to be equal to 250. So basically, what is the value of n? That is going to be 250. But unfortunately, if you see this question, the options are not in terms of values, the options are there in terms of inequalities. So you have to check. So basically 250 lies between 243 to 252. So answer of this question is going to be option D. Now, if this question was giving me the values of n in the option, then more likely I would not have done all those things. I would have directly used the value of n by using options and get the answer from there itself. But instead of that, even I don't do that. The solution is not lengthy, the question is not lengthy. We can easily solve these kind of questions. Okay, so in arithmetic percent, if I'm talking about percentage is always strong area. Okay, and it is always a scoring area. Okay, now let's move on to next question, and what does it say? Okay. So again, I'm going to ask you, if anyone has any doubt at any point in any question, just drop a message. I'll revert. Meena scores 40% in an exam after review, even though her score increased by 50%. Okay. So this is 100%. How much she is scoring? She is scoring 40%. Okay. So majority of these kind of questions I'm going to use solve by using number line itself. She is scoring how much? 40%. Okay. Now, and after review, even though her score is increased by 50%. Okay, so 40% was already there, her score increased by 50%. So what is 50% of 40%? That is 50% means half of 40%, that is 20%. So after review, her score increased by 20%, so it has become 60%. Okay, she's still failing by 35 marks. Okay, so it means passing mark should be somewhere here. This is what I know, and this is pass mark. Okay, if her post review score, that is 60%, increased by 20%. Okay, so 20%, I would say one fifth. One fifth of 60% is going to be 12%. Means if she is supposed to score 72%, then she will have 7 marks more than the passing score. So this difference comes out to be 7. And that's what question is saying. Okay. So 60% to 72%, I can say it is 12%. Right? It is 12%. 30 from here to here, we have 35. From here to here, we have 7. So this value comes out to be 42. So 12% of the total marks is equal to 42. Okay. Can I say 2% of the total marks is equal to 7? So 2% of total marks is 7. Now I can replace this 7 with 2%. So passing marks are 2% lesser than 72%. It means passing marks should be equal to 70%, and that's going to be option A. So that's how we are going to solve this question without making a lot of equations, without choosing a lot of variables. Just directly by drawing number line, we can easily solve these kind of questions, and we don't need to worry about these kind of questions. Easily we can get the answer. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it says? Okay, now let's look at this. So it says that income of Amla is 20% more than that of Bimla and 30% less than that of Kamla. So income of Amla is 20% less than that of Bimla. It means Amla's income is 80% of Bimla's income. And 20%, sorry, I made a mistake over here. So I'm just going to redo the questions, redo the statement. So income of Amla is 20% more than that of Bimla. So it is going to be 1.2 or 120% of Bimla. And it is 20% less than that of Kamla. So 0.8 of Kamla means 80% of Kamla. So 20% less than that of Kamla means 20% of 100% means 80% of Kamla, that is Amla's income. 120% of Bimla's income, that is Amla's income. Now, if you see, the coefficient of A is 1, the coefficient of B is 1.2, coefficient of K is 0.8. So what I am going to do in this? I am assuming a value that is divisible by 1, 1.2 and 0.8. So for me, the best value I can feel like is 240. Okay. So A's income is 240. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write A's income, and that is 240. What is going to be B's income? That is 240 upon 1.2. That is 200. Okay. What is Kamla's income? That is going to be 240 divided by 0.8. That gives me 300. So this is what we have. Kamla's income goes down by 4%. So 4% of 300 is, so 1% of 300 is 3. So 4% is 12. So Kamla's income goes down by 4%, means Kamla's income is 288. Bimla's income goes up by 10%. So Bimla's income is 220. Okay. Now question is saying, then the percentage by which Kamla's income would exceed Bimla's. Okay. So now Kamla's income is 68 more than Bimla's income. So by what percent? So 68 into 220 divided by 100, and 22 into 3 is 66. So this value is going to be 31% approx. So answer of this question is going to be option B, that is equal to 31%. And that's how we can solve this question very easily, by not making a lot of variables and those kind of things, we can easily solve this question if we are going to get this type of question in the exam. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it says? It says in a class. Okay, just give me a moment. In a class, 60% of the students are girls and the rest of boys. Okay. Now there is a complete number, that is 30, that is given, right? So we can't assume that the number of students in the class are 30 are 100. We can't assume that. So I am assuming the total number of students in the class are 100x. Out of 100x, how many are girls? That is 60x, right? That is girls. Then how many are boys? That is 40x. Okay. There are 30 more girls than boys. So what is the difference between girls and boys? That is 20x. And that is equal to 30. So from here I can say that x is equal to 5. So total number of students in the class becomes 150. And out of 150, how many girls are there? 90. How many boys are there? That is 60. Okay. Now what does it say? 68% of the students, including 30 boys, pass the exam. So 68% of what? 150. Okay. So how we are going to get 68% very quickly? So I am going to calculate 10%. So 10% is what? 10% of 150 is 50. So 70% is what? That is 105. Okay. 1% is 1.5. So 2% is what? So 2% is 3. So 68% I can say is going to be 102. So we have 102 students that are passing the exam. Out of 102, how many are boys? 30. So how many girls are there? That is 72. So I know that 72 girls cleared the exam, 30 boys cleared the exam. The percentage of girls who do not pass. So how many girls were there? 90. Out of 90, how many have passed the exam? That is 72. So how many did not pass? 18. So 18 girls didn't pass the exam. What percent? So 18 by 90 into 100. So that directly comes out to be 20%. So answer of this question is going to be 20. So answer of this question is going to be 20. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it says that in an exam, the score of A was 10% less than that of B. Okay. Score of B was 25%. Okay. So score of A was 10% less of B. Okay. So A's score is 90% of B. So 90% means I can say 9 by 10 of B. Okay. Now B's score was 25% more than C. It means B's score was 125% of C. So 125% I can say that is 5 by 4 of C. Okay. And score of C was 20% less than of D. So C's score was 80% of D. So 80% I can say 4 by 5 of D. Okay. Now question is saying A's score is this. What is the score of D? Okay. So what I'm going to do? I am going to say A is equal to 9 by 10. B is what? 5 by 4 C. Okay. That is 5 by 4 C. And C is what? 4 by 5 D. Okay. So A's score is 72. That is equal to 9 by 10 of D. So this comes out to be what? 8. So what is the score of D? That comes out to be 80 directly. You don't have to calculate each one's score, that you don't need to calculate the score of A. You don't need to calculate the score of B, then score of C, then score of D. That is going to be actually very lengthy process and you are not supposed to do it. You can directly do it in the single statement. Just understand that how you are going to replace the values in the question. So with this, we conclude this session and The next session is going to happen tomorrow on Wednesday. We are going to talk about modern maths, and Naveen sir is the guy who's going to take the session. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to cover set theory, and it is a very important session because set theory is very important for your exam. And with this, we conclude. So, anyone has any doubt can ask me anything, and I would be happy to respond. So, okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. I'll see you next Tuesday. And the next session, we are going to do percentage 2. Thank you.